Okay. So this is the poem Keeping Quiet. It is written by Pablo Neruda. Are you able to hear me? Abhay, you can respond.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So please zoom. You can zoom your because I don't know how it is visible on your screens. Are you able to see the text? Are you able to see the text?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine, fine. So you can mute it now. Mute your speaker. So let me just start with this poem. This poem, Keeping Quiet, has been written by Pablo Neruda, and he was born in the year 1904 and he died in the year 1973. He's the poet of Chile. He's a Chilean poet, and he was a great diplomat. Still, there are so many people. And Komal Chahal, what is the problem with this girl? I fail to understand. Every time I see her in my waiting room, I've given her permission to enter so many times, just every time I see her in the waiting room. I don't know what is the problem. And why don't you people join in time? I'm going to log the meeting from next time onwards. One person who's still waiting. I don't know who is that person. So, okay, fine. So this, see, as it is, the session is only of 40 minutes, and if you come 10 minutes, 15 minutes late, it's of no point. Then you need not come if you're so late. So this poem has been written by Pablo Neruda, and it is the pen name of Neftali Ricardo Reyes Basalto, and he was born in the town of Parral in Chile. Neruda's poems are full of easily understood images which make them no less beautiful. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1971, and in this particular poem, he talks about the necessity of quiet introspection and creating a feeling of mutual understanding among human beings. So, what is he? He was a very widely read poet of the 20th century of the Americans, and he adopted this pseudonym. Pablo Neruda is his pen name. It is the pseudonym under which he would become. He wanted to become famous while still in his early teens. So I'm going to recite this poem, read this poem, and then we'll do the explanation. So he says, now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. Still there are people waiting. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. So this is all. This all is there on the first page. We'll do this page first, and then we'll move on to the next page. So, and please, still students have not enabled their videos. I fail to understand. I'm going to remove you. I'm going to remove all the participants who have not enabled their videos. I will not let them enter in the next class from now onwards. Why do I see 3 Komal Chahals? How many students are by the name of Komal Chahal? Why is it that we have 3 Komal Chahals in the class? There's only 1 Komal Chahal और 3 दिख रहे हैं मुझे यहाँ पे waiting room में. I fail to understand why. And every time it's the same thing. What is the problem with this particular child joining in? So if you have any problem with your videos getting enabled, I will remove you. So please turn on your videos. Okay. So he wants, what is the poet wanting in this particular poem? He wants everybody to sit in silence. He wants people to analyze their actions. Okay. And this particular poem is a call for introspection. It is a call for meditation for all human beings. You know, the people who have been divided on the basis of caste, who've been divided on the basis of language, who have been divided on the basis of any kind of discrimination is there. Okay, so he says now we will count to 12. So he starts his poem, he introduces his poem with a call for introspection of the people. And what does he want the people to do? He wants them to have a brief period of silence. He wants them to have a brief period of introspection, and he has used the number 12 here. If you asked a question, why has he used the number 12? It can be for two reasons. It can be associated with different things. You know, it could mean the number of months in a year. We have 12 months in a year. It could also mean the number of hours, you know, on the clock. And these can be the two interpretations of the number 12. And mostly these hours, these number of hours, they're associated with the noise that we create throughout the day, that is generated by the entire activities of the human beings on the earth. So both these things, what do they indicate? What do they stress on? They just stress on the fact that we are just drowning our time in the noise that we create throughout the day, that the human beings create continuously. Okay, so it is this human activity, it is this noise, it is such kind of an activity that the poet wishes to put to an end, or just put to rest. Okay, so he says, now we will count to 12, means just introspect, just meditate for some time, sit silent. And what does he want the people to do? For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. What is he wanting the people to do? He wants that everybody should sit still, should stay silent, and should not speak in any kind of language. Why? Because see, we have read in the very first chapter about linguistic chauvinism. Can anyone just explain what that means? You can raise your hands so that I can ask. So what is linguistic chauvinism? Malvika. Okay. Yes, I would have to stop sharing this, I guess. Alam has also raised. Just a minute. Where do I find Alam? We still have people in the waiting room, and this is so irritating. People keep on coming in till 12:40. What is this nonsense? So two participants have raised their hands. I think I would have to stop sharing. Where is this child? Alam. Yes, Alam. Can you give the answer?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes.
basically linguistic chauvinism means that through language, people are creating this aggressive language barriers between people to express aggressive patriotism, and
Patriotism.
because of these are there are language barriers between people, and this is one prime example where we fight where we fight because of language between us.
Yes. So he wants that one such moment on the earth should be there, that nobody should speak a word, their words are not used, so that there is no kind of linguistic chauvinism in there. So in that moment, we are not to speak anything, we are just to stay quiet, we are just to stay silent. Okay, and this only silence should prevail. Let's stop for 1 second and let's not move our arms so much. So he wants that only then, in this moment, in those moments of silence, we should have an end, we should put an end to all kind of negativity that is there, and all kind of negativism or negativity would fade away. And he wants that all the people of the earth should stop all kinds of movement. So he says, let's not move our arms so much. What does he mean by this? We should stop all movements, and because it is this so-called movement, the so-called mad race, the so-called rat race for a kind of a progressive outlook which people want to have. He wants that they should put an end to this, and when these kinds of activities, when this noise, these kinds of activities would be stopped, then what would prevail everywhere? What would be there everywhere? There would be peace, there would be tranquility all around us. Have you followed this first stanza? Alam, you can respond.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
yes,
fine. So you can just mute your speaker now. So we are through with the first two lines and the next stanza. Let us discuss certain questions with you.
Yes, ma'am. So 12 years means the months of the year or the hours of a day.
Yes.
So
The hours on the clock or the months of a year. What is he? Why is he? Where has he used this term 12? What does this 12 indicate?
So the poet wants us to count for 12 and uh, keep still, keep still ourselves to.
Yes. To stay still, to be still. And yes, Vishwajit had raised his hand. Where is Vishwajit? I cannot see him. Where is Vishwajit? I cannot find you. There's so many. Yes, Vishwajit. Vishwajit.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, so count to 12 basically means that as there are 12 hours in a clock, so
Yes.
ma'am, it basically refers to it. And ma'am, ma'am, and the poet says that you need to be means you need to meditate or you need to be quiet for at least like for 12 like 12 counts means for 12 seconds. So you need to
At
meditate
least,
and
you
you
know,
need to think properly.
yes, this is what he wants to say. He wants to stress on the fact that for a brief period of time, for a short period of time, we need to introspect. We need to just put an end to all kinds of human activity, and we need to put to rest such kinds of things. Abhay is so late. Okay, fine. So let's move on to the next question. What is the advantage that the poet sees in keeping quiet? Abhay, you can mute yourself now. Vishwajit, you can mute yourself. What is the advantage that the poet sees in keeping quiet? Yes, Malvika. Where is Malvika? Okay, let me ask somebody else. There are only two students who have raised their hands, Alam and Malvika again. Okay, Malvika, yes.
Ma'am, by keeping the quiet, the poet wants to say that there will be no language barrier
Yes,
if
very
the
good.
people will not communicate with each other. Whereas the poets request the people to not move their arms or weapons,
Yes.
so that there is complete silence and no barrier between the
Okay, fine.
people.
Fine.
There is
No barrier between the people, and there would be, peace all around. There would be the moments of tranquility all around. Okay. How would humanity benefit if people did not speak in any language? How would humanity benefit if people did not speak in any language? You can raise your hands. I want the others of the class also to respond. How is humanity going to benefit if people would not speak in any language? Shruti. Shruti. Shruti, please respond. How is humanity going to benefit?
Ma'am, the fishermen will not harm the whales in
We have
the sea.
we have not reached that stanza, dear. How would humanity benefit if people did not speak in any language? Just concentrate on the first 6 lines and tell. Yes, we have read about language. What does language lead to? What does language lead to? This is such a simple question. We've discussed it so many times. Yes, Abhay. Abhay.
And there would be no wars.
There would be no wars because it is a language which leads to a desire in the people to dominate others. It is this shamanism, it is this linguistic shamanism which makes people, like we had in the very first chapter, wherein the Germans wanted to dominate the French and they wanted to impose their language, they wanted to thrust their language on the French people. So if nobody would speak in any language, then what would happen in those moments of introspection? There would all the negative elements, all the negative sentiments, they're going to just vanish away in those depths of silence. Okay, let's continue from the second stanza now. Let me just share the screen. Let's continue from the second stanza. Okay, so he says it would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. So that moment, what does it refer to here? It refers to that particular moment, those moments of silence, those moments of tranquility and peace. So it would be an exotic moment. Why does he call this moment an exotic one? He says it would be an exotic moment, it would be a splendid moment, it would be an exciting moment, it would be a blissful moment for all. There would be no rush of anything, there would be no noise, there would be no locomotives moving, there would be no engines rushing past us, and we would all be together in a sudden strangeness. So this is, which is the poetic device that is used in the last line? Can anyone just tell me? The poetic device used in the last line here. Why is it that always Malvika, Vishwajit, Abhay and Alam are answering? What about the rest of the class, rest of the students? The two participants who raised their hands? Yes, Khushpreet. Khushpreet. Yes, Khushpreet. What is the poetic device used here? Khushpreet?
It's alliteration.
Yes, it's alliteration. So poetic device is alliteration. It would be a moment of sudden strangeness. Why would be a strange moment? Because that kind of experience, that kind of moment people would never have experienced earlier. So that is why he says it would be a novel moment. It would be a new moment for everybody, because this moment would be those moments would be unheard of. They would be unfamiliar, and that is why he says it would be a strange moment. So peace would prevail all around, and there would be universal brotherhood, everybody, everywhere, and there would be no rush. Nobody would be in a hurry to reach anywhere. There would only be peace and silence all around. Okay, so what do we see these days? These days, people are always, in a hurry, rushing here and there, running about here and there. They are in a kind of a, everybody is involved in a kind of a mad race, in a kind of a rat race, to just outshine others. Everybody wants to be ahead of the others. So, and what does this lead to? This leads to periods of unrest. There's no peace among the people. So this moment of silence would actually be a kind of a blessing for all. So on my screen, I can see 3 students, Vishwajit, Malvika and Khushpreet. Khushpreet, you have still not enabled your video. So would it be nice if I just remove you from the meeting? You need to, you see, it's a request to everybody. You need to enable your videos. It doesn't matter now. We are not going to have a video shoot here. कि हम ऐसे दिख रहे हैं, हम वैसे दिख रहे हैं घर में बैठे, तो उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Okay, so you are here to attend a class. There's no, there are so many students. I have a list of the students. I'd asked my son to make a list, and there are around 34 students who have still not enabled their videos. Should I read out their names? Out of 48, there are 34 students who have not, enabled their videos. So from next time onwards, I'm going to remove you all. So please enable yourself. Register, keep it here because I'm going to call out the names. Fine. So yes, it's better now, Abhay. Abhay, yours was the first name. So next he says, fishermen in the cold sea. Have you followed the second stanza? Second stanza you followed because I have not unmuted anyone. So let me ask a few questions. What would be an exotic moment for the poet? What would be an exotic moment for the poet? Yes, Lubhavni. What would be an exotic moment for the poet? Lubhavni. What would be an exotic moment for the poet, Lubhavni?
A moment of silence can be exotic moment for the poet.
Yes, it would be an exotic moment. It would be a moment of peace. It would be a moment of universal brotherhood, and it would be created through silence only. Okay. Next question is, why would that moment be strange? Why would that moment be strange? You can mute yourself now. Why would that moment be strange? Yes, Kashish. Why would that moment be strange? Yes, Kashish.
Ma'am, that moment will be strange because there will be no rush, without there will be no engines moving around, and everybody will be together in a silence, in a moment of silence.
Yes, everybody would be together, and that would be a strange moment because this moment is going to be a new one. People would not have earlier heard of this moment. This would be an unfamiliar moment, a novel moment, and a new one. That is why he calls it strange. So you need to focus on the word strange. Why has the poet called it strange? Okay, a moment which is experienced by everybody for the first time. Okay. So explain the phrase without rush, without engines. Without rush. Harman Rana. Harman Rana, explain it. Explain without rush, without engines. Yes. Yes, Harman. Harman, we are waiting for you to respond.
I don't know, ma'am. Sorry.
You don't know? Okay. Sapna, would you like to respond? Sapna. Yes, Sapna. Sapna, I'm not able to hear you. Nobody's, your voice is not audible. Sapna. It is not audible. Okay, okay, just hold on, I'll ask you the next question. Khushpreet. Yes, Khushpreet. Where is Khushpreet? Yes, Khushpreet. Khushpreet, you had raised your hand.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What does it mean? Yes,
Ma'am,
Khushpreet.
that it is said that without rush and without engines, people will, when there will be silence, people will not be in a rush to achieve material things.
Yes.
And nobody will be in hurry, and there will be no sound of engines.
Yes, nobody would be in a hurry. Nobody would be in a kind of a mad race to just be ahead of the others. So it would be a moment of tranquility and a moment of peace. Let's just do one more stanza before we, finish off with this meeting. So he says, fishermen in the, yes, he says, fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. So he's talking about fishermen, but fishermen here, he is not just focusing on the fishermen only. What is he talking about? He's talking about all the hunters of the world, all hunters of all kinds, and fishermen are basically symbolic of man's indiscriminate exploitation of nature. Okay, because of his to just fulfill his own vested interests. So what does he say? He says in those moments of silence and those moments of peace and tranquility, what would people do? They would not harm whales. Whales here represent, they are symbolic of the oppressed class. Okay, so it is a cry of the oppressed class. They would also feel free. So in mankind, in an efforts to just add comforts to his own life, what does he do? He causes suffering to the nature. He causes suffering to every thing. There's no need for anyone to do anything on the on this page. So I'm just giving a warning to all of you. There's no need for anyone to underline anything or do anything. Otherwise, I'll just put an end to the meeting. Okay, I'd given you a warning that day also. People were writing all sorts of nonsense here. So there's no need for anyone to underline or do anything. Okay, so he says mankind, in an effort to add comforts to his life, he has stopped paying attention to his own self also, and that is why he says the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. So while in the process of gathering salt, what happens to himself? He's hurt himself. He would now, in those moments of tranquility and in those moments of peace, human beings would get time to heal their own wounds also. Okay, so he will pay attention to the suffering that is caused to the nature and the suffering that in this process that he's causing to himself. Okay, so he would get plenty of time to heal his wounds. So that is what he wants to say in the third stanza. Let's just do the question answers before the time finishes. Let's do the question answers related to the third stanza. So what are fishermen symbolic of? And what would happen when fishermen do not harm whales? What are fishermen symbolic of? What are fishermen symbolic of?
Fishermen are symbolic of that they would stop harming the whales.
What are they symbolic of? I just told you, they're symbolic of the entire race of human beings who want to just hunt around. So they are symbolic of indiscriminate exploitation of nature by man for his own interests. So when fishermen would not harm whales, when nobody would oppress the suppressed class, then they would not, the whales would no longer be under the threat of getting extinct. Okay. So what is the message that the poet conveys in this line? Anybody who wants to answer? What is the message that the poet wants to convey in this line? Rhythm. Yes, Rhythm, can you answer? Rhythm? Rhythm?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please answer. What is the message that the poet wants to give in this line, in these lines?
Ma'am, the poet basically wants to give the message that the
I think there's problem in your speaker somewhere. Let me ask somebody else. Again, Malvika and Vishwajit. Okay, Vishwajit, yes. Yes, Vishwajit.
Yes, ma'am. Can you please just repeat the question? Sorry.
What is the message that the poet wants to convey in these lines?
The message that poet wants to convey is that that the fisherman, he's basically telling that the fishermen should not harm the whales which are there, and they should not like for their own benefit and for their own survival, they should not spoil the natural habitat of them, and they should not kill them. And moreover, ma'am, he says that the one who picks up the means who collect the salts, they should also not hurt their hands.
They should, they would, it is not that they should not hurt their hands. He wants to stress upon the fact that they would have time to heal their wounds. So what does he want to say through these lines is that in the so-called advancement, so-called material advancement that we are heading towards, it has resulted in more harm than good. And in this process, we are causing more harm to ourselves, not only to nature, not only to our, fellow brothers outside, we are causing more harm to ourselves. And if in those moments of tranquility and peace, we would get time to heal our wounds, we would get time to heal ourselves. Okay, so what do the hurt hands imply? Somebody else would answer now. Hurt hands mean what? What are these hurt hands? Yes, what are these hurt hands? Somebody else, let somebody else answer. What are these hurt hands? I have Ankita also. Yes, Ankita. Yes, Ankita.
The hurt hands warn the man that he should stop collecting more salt than he needs.
Yes, and he should stop collecting not only just salt, he should stop focusing on just material things, because in this race for accumulating more of such things, he is causing injuries to himself also. And he wants that everybody should have these moments of peace and tranquility, and only then they would think about the benefits of being silent, the benefit of living in a world of peace. Okay, so this was about it. We are left with 3 minutes. I think we can do one more stanza. Let me just try. He says, those who prepare. So if it comes to an end, if the meeting comes to an end, it doesn't matter. We'll continue day after. But let me just see what all we can do. So he says, those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. So what is he focusing on here? He says, the people who are involved in wars. And who are the people who are involved in wars? Who are the people who are involved in wars? Yes, yes, Vishwajit, speak up. Who are the people who are involved in wars?
The people who are involved in wars are the ones like who say that their language is best, and they just fight because of the language.
Not only those people, but he's talking about here he's focusing
and
about,
also the ones, yes ma'am, the ones who prepare green wars and means poisonous gases to destroy the others.
Yes, poisonous gases, like the politicians, the scientists, all those who are involved in this process of, all those who are initiating wars and all those who are aggravating wars. So he's talking about those people, war against mankind, war against nature, war using chemicals, war using nuclear weapons. So actually these wars, what are these wars doing to us? They're actually trying to bring entire mankind to an end. Okay, so and he says there is victory, but what kind of victory? Nobody would be there.
No one survives.
No one survives. Yes. Nobody would be there. You can say it would be a victory of scientific knowledge. You can say it would be a victory of science, but no survivors would be left to enjoy that or to celebrate that victory. Okay, so and he says he wants the people of the earth. What should they do? They should put on clean clothes and they should rethink of their activities. They should have a fresh approach towards life, and they should just put an end to all the destructive activities that are going on.